Now, government has launched the much talked about 8 billion cedi SME Growth and Opportunity Program today. The initiative is aimed at supporting small businesses with the much needed financial help to expand their operations. The fund could be offering up to 300,000 Ghana cedis as initial funding to support beneficiaries. This afternoon, let's exchange ideas on SME funding with Kukwa Adams. She is founder of Clear Group, which supports SMEs and startups to scale up. Also, Emmanuel Ampedu is co-founder of Pure and Just Company Limited, a dried food processing factory. Good afternoon to you both. I want to start with you, Emmanuel. What are your thoughts about this 8 billion cedi SME Growth and Opportunity Program?
Thank you very much, Darrell, and a good afternoon to all your listeners and viewers. I think it's good news. I mean, being an entrepreneur in the SME sector is a very good news, but I really hope it's going to serve its purpose, because there are a lot of SMEs in Ghana that are creating employment, that are giving people a livelihood despite all the economic challenges. So I think if this is executed well, then it's towards the right direction, because then it's going to provide funding for businesses to continue to scale up, or businesses that need to buy machinery, or businesses that even need support to continue to employ people to ease their burden. So if it's going to be done well, then I think it's a step towards the right direction.
Well, Kukwamano says if it's going to be done well, then it's a step towards the right direction. I mean, I've spoken with some SMEs who say, oh, this is yet another program. We've seen so many of them in recent times. What's so different? What's so unique about it? Your thoughts? Can you hear me, Kukwa?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much, Darrell. And good afternoon to all the listeners and then the viewers as well. So yes, as you rightfully said, this is another initiative that has been launched. And in my opinion, and I guess that of the SMEs that we've been working with for a while, where you know the usual, okay, so we see that this has been launched, but we never hear the end of it. I think for us, our expectation this time around is that this will be seen through, as Emmanuel rightfully said, because really and truly, I think that a lot of us are really looking out for some of these opportunities to not only scale our businesses up just in Ghana and create employment, but we're also looking to be able to continue to be as innovative as we want to be. And these, funds actually help us get to that point. So we're really hoping and praying that this initiative is something that we will all see it go through, see the participants, and even hear back from some of these participants that made it through the entire process, and then also give us feedback. Then we can confirm that, okay, really and truly, this has seen its course.
Yeah, Kukwa, I mean, you deal with many startups and SMEs. They come to you for help as you help them to scale up. And of course, one of the things that you would hear them say is a major challenge is funding. And so why are we not seeing results from programs like these, do you think?
This is a tough one. I mean, why we're not seeing results? To be very honest, from where I stand, I think that it's because there have been series of these, initiatives that have started that we haven't seen through. I mean, I stand to be corrected, but I think Emmanuel will also agree with me when I say that we've heard these things so many times, but we haven't seen how it, it materialized. So I guess we are all in that bubble where we're hopeful, and then we're, just hoping that this is really that initiative that will really work out, because we do need the funding. And unfortunately, we find ourselves in an environment where we are not even motivated to do, all the things that we want to do. And there are a lot of setbacks and barriers. So it makes it very difficult for us to be able to scale up.
Yeah, and Emmanuel, when you engage some SMEs, they're not so happy about this because, I mean, they don't sometimes understand how these funds are targeted, which shows a certain lapse in the system when it comes to distribution of these funds. Is that a concern for you as well, Emmanuel?
Yeah, it is. It is a concern for me. I mean, I have a personal experience when the Ministry of Business Development was set up. And they said they were going to help startups or people with good ideas. We tried applying, and up until today, nothing. So I feel the pain of my colleague entrepreneurs who are running SMEs when they say that this might not be different, because in the past, a lot has been launched, but we haven't really benefited. Personally, I haven't benefited from it, and I don't know anybody who has in my circle. So that is why people will lose faith or lose interest in these kind of things. For me, I think that the most important thing is that government should start consulting other developmental organizations that have rolled out some of these startup funds that are successfully executing it. If I start mentioning names, I will not end now, but there are a lot of these developmental agencies that are providing funding to SMEs, helping them to scale up, helping them to be innovative, and helping them to run their operations even in this difficult time. So I really understand my colleagues that do not feel enthused about this.
Yeah, Kukwa, I want to bring up the issue of data because, I mean, we're talking before the show and you wanted data on something and we realized that it's difficult to come by data. And so what informs distribution of these funds, which sectors that the government targets? I mean, these are issues that we can sort out if we have accurate data, Kukwa.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Yes, Darrell and I were just on a conversation about data because I am looking for data, on the SME businesses in Ghana generally to be able to push, an initiative. And yes, you are right, because even I would like to know how how government arrived at, their criteria in, even selecting, or, fine-tuning the entire program. We want to know the industries that this is for. Is it for all SMEs or this is for a select, group? Because for those of us that are in consulting, I'll be very honest with you, we have faced so many challenges to the extent that even when you went to the banks, they will tell you that your type of business doesn't support any type of loan or funding that you're looking for. So I think for me, I'm more interested in how did we arrive at it? Because I also need the information. I think Emmanuel too does need that information as well. And I also haven't benefited from any of these grants. I have applied a couple of times. I really don't know if they were even still going through the whole criteria, process, but it's been very challenging. And I mean, I think we want to know more, if you ask me. We want to know more. And it will be good for them to also engage some of us who are also in, these businesses to be a part of the, the entire program so that we can also share our hands-on experience, our challenges on the ground, so that we can fine-tune, some of these funding processes.
Yeah, and to be fair, Kukwa, SMEs constitute about 80 to 90% of businesses in the country. Not everybody is going to get some sort of funding. And so when businesses come to you and say, well, we are looking for funding from banks and other institutions, what should they be doing? Because they complain when we ask for such funds, we don't get them.
So, yes. So for me, I've always been for internal structures. And that's, as you know, we are always pushing to restructure businesses restructure internal processes for small businesses. One thing that I always share with our clients generally is that, yes, sometimes you may need funding, but I also believe that if you have the right systems, the right structures, it can push you to become investor ready or grant ready. And this is something I think the businesses that are listening should push for, where you focus on documenting your systems, you focus on, having how your cash flow is coming in, how you're recording. Look, if you don't have the best bookkeeping procedures, there's no way any bank or any institution will give you money because they're not sure how you're going to spend it. They want to know how you spend it. They want to know how they will get their money back. So if we focus on setting the right systems and structures, I also believe that it may not necessarily give us all the money we're looking for, but we'll be a step further than we were before.
Yeah, and Emmanuel, isn't funding just an aspect of it? Because, well, if you get the funds, the state of the economy, you have to pay bills. I visited your factory before. You run a genset for your dried food factory. You're spending thousands on cost of electricity. We are having to deal with inflation, what have you. So funding is just an aspect of the struggles of businesses, isn't it, Emmanuel?
Yeah, so it's just an aspect, and that's why I mentioned that the government can consult other developmental agencies that are doing it. I can give you an example. The Association of Ghanaian Industries, in partnership with Ghc8, released funding to support SMEs, and they provide trainings as well. They provide capacity building. It's not just the funding. They help make sure that your processes are well documented, even they are well structured. They help advise you on financing and other things. So I believe that if they consult these people, they will know that it's not just funding that SMEs need. How to even sometimes design your SOPs, how to pay attention to quality in your organization. They even provide some consultancy services on financing, how to make sure your books are okay. All these things are very important. So it's not just providing the financing. Sometimes people need some capacity building for their staff. Sometimes they just need a tour somewhere to go and see a certain machine that they've been meaning to buy. So some of these things are what the government should also be supporting, and not just the funding as well. Then, sorry to say this, but they should also work on the landscape, because the bills are high and high and high. So even if you give me money and every 3 months you're increasing tariffs, or even if you give me money and transportation costs, fuel prices are rising, it will still come back to bite me. Yeah.
All right, Emmanuel, one last question. On exactly a week today, the finance minister will be presenting the mid-year budget review. And so, as a business owner, what will be your expectation?
My expectation as a business owner will be specifically being in the agribusiness sector. We need to start looking at our agriculture sector seriously. Every single year, we are declining in terms of food production, specifically mangoes. We are having problems with post-harvest losses. So we need to make sure we are investing in agriculture, because it's still the backbone of the economy and the way to go. So I'd like to see specifically plans that the government are making, like monies that they are allocating to develop the agricultural sector. Also, being in the SME sector that is employing a lot of people, I'd like to specifically hear how much money they are putting in to even cushion the economy a bit. You know, there should be more tax incentives for SMEs. There should be more programs. I mean, if they could even do something to support we, the young entrepreneurs or youth, in terms of our bills, electricity bills, or even transportation or something. I just want to hear things that are actionable to support we, the entrepreneurs, and not just anything like we've seen in the past.
Kukwa, any expectations at your end? You have the last word.
Yeah, so my last words, I think I'm interested in implementation strategies for SMEs. We've heard so many things, we have seen so many things. We just want to know what the next action plan is and how they intend on executing. I think that alone will make us, a bit more relieved, knowing that it's no longer a conversation that they are having, but they are implementation strategies that they are looking to roll out. All
right, and I'll help you with the data. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we we come across some SME data. Kuko Adams, founder of Clear Group, also Emmanuel Ampedu, who is co-founder of Pure and Just Company Limited. Thank you so much, guys, for being on the exchange this afternoon on the